Tonight, the sailors are on the move.
Walter Buckley, motor machinist mate, second class, United States Navy. I was 18 years old, and I had to be 18 in order to get drafted. I was drafted for the Army in August of 1943. Went to Des Moines, Iowa, and about the middle of the day was called up to go downtown Des Moines at the Naval Recruiting Station. And that's where I was inducted into the United States Navy. I went home that night, and my father was sitting on the kitchen there reading the paper, and he asked me what part of the Army I was put in, and I said, well, I guess the Navy is part of the Army now, because that's where they put me, in the United States Navy. He says, they don't ever do that. Anyway, we had fun with that one. From there, I was assigned to a crew, LST 923. LST is basically a ship, landing ship tank, that is capable of putting tanks on a beach or any other equipment that they may have, which would be Army trucks, Army guns, or any other military equipment that's needed to be put on a beach. We had a nickname for LST, which is the large, slow target. We met about 8 knots an hour in the water. That was our normal cruising speed. We went to Chesapeake Bay to a shakedown cruise to learn how to operate our ship. From there we went back to New York Harbor. We loaded a lot of food supplies, etc. in some of the side compartments. For some reason, never put anything on the tank deck. And next morning we went over to Bayonne, New Jersey to Schaefer Brewery, where they loaded 50,000 cases of beer. What a party we were going to have. From there we went down through the Panama Canal. Then we went to Hawaii and dropped off. They took the beer away from us there.
Was it all there?
Oh yeah, most of it. Oh, we had a lot of fun. You know, we got to know each other real well. We always swapped movies with other LSTs. You know, it seemed like everybody had one. Yeah. So we would, and it's amazing how they would do that. We would get somewhat close together and they'd shoot a line across, you know, with some kind of a gun or some kind of, shoot a line across, and they'd switch films, you know, and then take off again. In 1945, we were in Japan, and our officers somehow or other stole a Jeep. They got it ashore, got it aboard, and whenever they wanted to go, they'd just take it and go someplace, you know, just like they owned it. But anyway, on the way back to the United States, they got to thinking about that Jeep. We didn't supposed to have it, so they pitched it over the side. It's in the bottom of the ocean. It'd be somewhere between Hawaii and San Francisco. They pitched it. We went down to the southern islands of Philippine Islands and loaded on another group of Army military personnel and their equipment and took them back up to Lingayen Gulf. Well, later on we went down to Bougainville and loaded up with a battalion of Marines and all their equipment. And we went to the invasion of Okinawa, and all the Japanese forces were on the Army side of the island, and the Marines really didn't have anything to do. So after a week or 10 days, the Army finally asked the Marines to come over and help them. Anyway, that kind of secured the island shortly after that. I did see one Japanese plane. We were sitting at a harbor in Japan at noon, waiting for the chow line to open, and all of a sudden, a plane was flying way up there in the sky. And we went, what in the world is that doing up there? So anyway, we called a bridge. Our controls up the bridge and pointed up there. And about that time, they sent out general quarters. It was a Japanese plane. Well, I heard later on the ship on the other side of us shot at it, you know. And it landed in the water about halfway between us and another LST, which was maybe 100 yards away.
Wow.
45, we started back for the Philippines again, supposedly thinking that we were going to load up with more military personnel to take for the invasion of Japan. At about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning it was that they came on the loudspeaker and announced that the information that Japan had surrendered. So naturally we kind of got up and mingled about, not really jumping up and down and shouting and carrying on like a lot of people did. We were more or less by ourselves, you know, just kind of, hey, this thing is finally over. So nobody slept anymore that night. But then one day I was called to go with a troop of about 18 people, sailors, and one officer, to go up to Hiroshima. Well, I didn't know what Hiroshima was until we got up there, and the officer that was with us told us that, well, this is what Hiroshima looks like. And I said, well, what's so different about this? We see this rubble between Yokohama and Tokyo for the last month. Well, it's, yeah, but one bomb did this. And that's the first time I'd ever heard a one bomb did anything. Well, I didn't, just kind of loafed around for about a month. Then I called up the company I worked for before I went into the service, who ran river boats on the inland waterways of the United States, since I had diesel engine experience. And then finally I went to work at a diesel electric railroad locomotive factory in west end of Davenport, Iowa. And that's where I met Mary and got married and so forth and so on from there. We had 4 children now. We moved to Caterpillar Tractor Company, and that's where I spent 30 years with them. Yeah. We just celebrated our 60th wedding anniversary on the 26th of April, and then we are going to have another weekend here with our daughter and her husband from California will be here. Our son and his wife from St. Louis will be here. Our daughter from Chicago will be here, and Alan, Laura, and Ben will be here from Normal. Amazing that I'm still here, and the condition of my health that I'm in. Very, very fortunate. Pardon?
Want to say anything else?
No, I think that's it. I've talked enough.